All right, it's April, it's officially spring, and we're here to talk about the March Canmore real estate market update, give you some insight on what happened, where we see things going, and so on and so forth. So let's start with talking about what happened in the local communities.
Perfect. Canmore had 42 sales. 1.323 million was the average sale price. The average square foot price was $792 per square foot, and the average days on the market was 38. We had no sales in Banff for the month of March.
Deadman's Flats, there were 4 sales. All of those were short-term rentals, brought the average sale price to $1,034,000. Average square foot price was coming in at over $1,000 a foot at $1,031, and it took an average of 18 days to sell. Nothing in Lac des Arcs for March.
Harvey Heights, we had 2 sales, 1.151 million in change, $921 per square foot, and 20 days on the market. Nothing in Exshaw.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about specific property types in Canmore. So single family homes, as of today, April 1st, there are 36 active listings. There were 7 sales in March. Average sale price for those single family homes was coming in at just under $2.3 million. Average square foot price was $787 a foot, and those took a whopping 15 days to sell.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get into that a little bit a little later on in the video. So townhomes, 38 active listings as of April 1st, 15 sales in the month of March, 1.1 million and change, $652 a square foot, and the average days on the market were 34.
Moving into apartments, there are 36 active apartments, 9 sales in March. Average sale price was $912,000. Average square foot price $797, leading the way for the residential sector, and the average days on the market was 63.
Half duplexes, 11 active on the inventory, 4 sales in the month of March, 1.849 was the average sale price. Average square foot price was $730 a square foot, and 47 days on the market.
Let's talk about some short-term rentals here. Hotel condos, we have 17 active. There were only 4 sales in March for an average sale price of $905,000. Average square foot price was $1,128, and it took an average of 27 days to sell.
Tourist homes, we have 5 inventory right now. 3 sales in the month of March, just under 1.3 million. $1,126 was the average square foot price, and 21 days on the market.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Hotel condos are typically a little bit under tourist for average square foot price, but not this month.
Yeah. I find, it's hit and miss for sure. It just really depends on what was moving. Let's get into some year-to-date stuff before we kind of break all this down and talk about year-to-date stuff, some inventory levels, so on and so forth. So sold listings year-to-date in 2025, we had 102. And in 2026, we're currently sitting at 104. 5-year average comes in at 116. So we're pretty much on par with last year. About a 2% increase, basically.
End of month active inventory, we were 141 in 25. And this is year to date, 144 in 2026. The 5-year average is 113. So we're a little bit above the 5-year average, but much the same as last year for, again, a 2% increase this year.
Average sale price in 2025, we were at 1.423 million year to date. And in 2026, we're at 1.25. So that's a 12% decrease. Again, we're looking at a small sample size. Big house sold last year. That's going to bring that number down. We're starting to see these numbers become closer together. Last month, the 2025 year-to-date number was quite a bit higher.
Yeah.
It was almost like 1.8 or something.
Yeah.
So that's going to come more closer together. So don't be alarmed by that. This is just data. And then obviously the 5-year average is 1.13.
And I think some of that, we talk about this in our videos. The market here is because we don't have a ton of sales like you would in a big city, the average numbers fluctuate a lot because some months you might have, like this month, we had a lot of houses, right?
Yeah.
And some months you might have short term, and some months you have apartments or so on and so forth. So it varies on the type of property that sell, so that changes the average a little bit.
For sure. And I think the year to date is one of those things where we're kind of just giving you some data. Obviously, we're going to talk to you guys about it, but the reason why we do that is because that number starts to matter a little bit more as we progress throughout the year, and we're looking more as the year on an average,
For sure.
as opposed to just a 3-month sample.
So
So
once you get into 12 months, you'll have a better idea of where
it's-
that year is based on the last year.
it's just one of those things that we feel it's kind of important to talk about. Another thing I think is important to touch on, just to kind of reiterate that for people who may be alarmed from that, is in February our average sale price was under 1.1 million.
Yeah.
So again, that's what's sold. That's just how it works. But depending on however you want to look at it, overall March was a positive month, and we're going to break that down now, I think. So from what we saw, just kind of what we had briefly discussed before filming this, of course, is average sale price was good. 38 days on the market, that's quick, based on what we have seen. And I'm feeling that in the market as well.
100%.
Average square foot price, just about $800 a foot. That's pretty good. And that's positive, in my opinion.
Well, I think the alarming thing is, not alarming, but 15 days on the market for single family homes.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, that is sold data, based on sold data. And, one of the things to think about is pricing. And I think we're going to talk about it. But, it's still really important as a seller, because we are not in a buyer's market for sure. And we're not in a seller's market either. Pricing matters.
Yeah.
We did a market analysis on a place, and it took us a little bit of time, but both you and I came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
Right? We want to be in the market where things will generate interest, because if they don't, properties that were similar to that type of property, we're getting price reductions. So that's very important. So
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about where the market is and how it is affecting people who are in buying mode.
Sure.
There's obviously some activity in the market. We're seeing that with our days on the market. We're seeing that with the uptick in spring activity, which we usually do. But low days on the market means things are moving. Pricing, obviously, it still matters. I think sellers, we're going to get into what sellers, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think sellers are picking up on what's working and what's not working. So that's creating that lower days on the market. I still think we're pretty balanced. I mean, we are seeing multiple offers, so it's important for buyers to really be aware of that.
Yeah.
We ran into a situation where we had clients secure a property, and then the next day another offer came in, which the seller accepted as a backup, which was for more money.
Well, and that
and
property
less
sat on the market
conditions.
for quite some time and had some price reduction.
Exactly.
One thing I noticed over the last month was, and I think in last month's video, I talked about price reductions and how we were seeing more price reductions.
Yeah.
I noticed that slow down a lot. Sellers are being more aware. Buyers are, like we said, buyers don't have to necessarily be panicky over getting properties right now.
Well,
This is what we talked about last month.
Right, okay.
Right? And so sellers had to therefore price properly, and they still do. Buyers, again, we're in the spring. Things tend to move a little quicker. Buyers are more eager. The snow is starting to go, although we've had it a weird winter. Yeah. The snow is starting to go. There's a buzz in town. This month has felt super busy compared to last year at this time.
yeah.
And so while I think we're in a balanced market, at the end of last year, I was talking about, we're slowing down. I don't know what next year's going to bring. And I think you were saying, no, I think we're going to be good.
Yeah.
And we kind of debated it back and forth a little bit. And you were right. The market is definitely hot.
Yeah.
You can see it in realtor rounds. You could see it in client engagement with us, people calling, talking, asking questions. So I think that the market from a buyer's perspective is, we talked about being prepared. Now, if you're prepared and you see the property you want, you probably need to make a play on it, because things are starting to really take off and move.
In my opinion, the way the market is right now, and we can talk about this more later, but it's literally the easiest market to be in if you're a buyer and a seller.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. Buyers, be prepared, know what things are worth, have a good realtor.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be happy. Sellers, plain and simple, don't overprice your property. Be on the offensive side of the spectrum. Don't play defense as a seller right now, because you're gonna sell for less and you're gonna have to do price reductions, and then you're gonna sit there in 3 months and go,
You're going to sell for less than what you would have if you
1,000%. Like, it's facts. The data supports it. So like, it's super simple. It's super simple. And at the end of the day, your property's worth what it's going to be worth. So let's just take this and tie it in for sellers. I think we've talked enough about buyers, and obviously we're going to flip back and forth a little bit. But I want to emphasize more on sellers being on the offensive side here, because market value and generating activity matters. So rather than being on the defensive side, overpricing your property, days on the market increase, you're doing reductions. We all know what happens when properties sit on the market for over 3 months. People start going, it's been on for 100 days, might be an older home. They're going to go in there and go, the siding's kind of trash.
What's wrong with it?
Whatever. I see why people aren't buying this, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on the offensive side, people look past that stuff.
Yeah.
They do. They realize that, hey, there's some demand here. And if your property is truly worth more than what, being on the offensive side is in Canmore, you're going to get it. You're just flat out going to get it. We saw it in Cougar Creek. There was a home that sold for $100 grand over ask.
Yeah.
You're going to get it. And it sold for what it's worth. It didn't sell for less.
No. And the market always dictates that, right?
100%. Especially in this town. So like that, be on the offensive side. Please don't be on the defensive side. Yes, there are certain properties that, and I totally understand that sellers have different motives, right? Sometimes sellers, they don't really care. They're, hey, okay, I'm going to list it.
Well, they're maybe testing the market too, right?
But I just I struggle with that. Like, I'm just like, test the market for what here? Like, what are we doing here? Like, to be completely honest with you, like, and I understand that certain properties are going to take longer to sell because they might be more of a luxury market, or vice versa. I'm not saying everything should sell in 15 days.
No.
But like, if you're going to overprice your property significantly, like, as a realtor, it's like I'm spinning my tires personally,
it's a waste of time.
And it's not that it's a waste of time that I don't want to work for you, but it's a waste of time in the sense of like, I don't really have anything to tell you other than we need to reduce the price, because we're not getting showings, we're not getting offers, we're not getting these types of things. So,
well, and those are conversations you have when you do a market analysis, right? And sometimes, a client or potential client will want to list a little bit higher, and we will look at some of those sometimes. Yeah. But the conversation has to be had. Yeah. If we don't get any activity, you have to reduce your price. Because if you don't, you will end up, chasing the market the other way. One thing I wanted to say about sellers, I had a couple of clients reach out and say, when's the best time to sell? Now. Absolutely 100%. Part of that reason is we don't know what the market's going to do.
I think that perfect point.
The majority of the reason is there probably isn't as many properties in your category as you think.
Oh, yeah.
And if you price aggressively on the offense, you may, like we told one client, you may generate more than what you're asking. You may not.
Yeah.
We can't time that market, or we don't know that. But from a seller's perspective, now is the best time to list. You look at the inventory, right? We're low. I mean, single family homes. There's how many we have on the market right now?
36, I think.
Yeah, 36. I mean, look at the short-term rental stuff.
Nothing.
Nothing.
If you're thinking about selling your Airbnb, put it up for sale next week.
Yes, because those things are moving. We're going to talk about some pre-construction things in a minute.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot on the market right now, and we're coming. I realize it's always hard because sellers, they'd like to keep their property and run it through the busy time, and then okay. But honestly, now's the best time. There isn't a lot of product on the market. Things are moving over ask if you price accordingly. So bottom line, if you're thinking about selling, whether it's in the investment short-term game or whether it's a single-family apartment residential, now's the best time.
Well,
but you have to price properly.
100%. I just want to touch on that too, because a lot of times, like I've had this conversation with clients in the past as well, where they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling. When's the best time to list? We think we want to transition into something else, or we want to get out of the short-term rental market or whatever. When should I list? Short-term rental, there's a little bit more clarity. There's way more demand in the spring. But when it comes to residential, yes, spring tends to be a good time, but a lot of times it's what is happening in the market currently. That could be April, that could be October,
and that's
that could
what's
be
happening
August.
right now.
But this is what's happening now, and this is why we don't say, wait 6 months, because the market, we don't tend to go this way. We don't necessarily.
There isn't the ebbs and flows as big as other markets.
There's not.
No.
So when we're telling you that it's a really good time to be a seller, even though we're still kind of in a balanced market, but there is an advantage to a seller if you listen to the things that we're telling you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And same for buyers.
Yeah.
That's what balanced means.
Yeah.
I sat with a client the other day that said, when's the best time to buy? And I said, right now.
2 years ago?
Well, yes, but
No, I'm
2 years
just
from
being
now, we'd be
sarcastic.
saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? We did flatten out a little bit last year, and things are starting to ramp up. So, I mean, it all depends on everybody's circumstance, but for this particular client, he was like this is a 5 to 7 year play. Right now is the best time to buy.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what balanced means.
Yeah.
Is if you're thinking about selling or thinking about buying, now is definitely the right time.
Well, and I just want to rewind for a second and just talk about sellers and listing properties, because the reason why I'm passionate about people pricing their houses properly, I understand the whole overpricing method. Like I really do. But what I want sellers to understand is that if you're thinking about selling, unless you don't care if 100 days goes by and then you're like, it's fine, I'll take it off the market, I'll wait till the next spring, then you'll want to be on the offensive side, because you end up selling for less every single time.
Always.
Every single time you do.
Yeah. Even if you run it for 100 days, take it off the market and put it back on.
Unless you're waiting
Correct. You wait a year or
Whatever,
or 6
yes.
or 8 months or 10 months.
Yeah.
But good realtors, they will go and they will look at history of the property.
Yeah.
And they will see it was on, it expired.
Yeah.
And so it's tough to come back and go, this is worth this now.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks are essential.
We see it time and time and time again.
So if you're serious about selling, that's our recommendation. If you're not, there's options out there. But let's talk about investors.
Yeah.
So the short-term rental side's been interesting. In my opinion, we don't have any inventory. We have inventory, but it's not for sale.
Well, it's just not ready.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Like it's. I mean, you drive down Bull Valley Trail and you're like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Like this is happening. This is changing. for good or for worse, whatever people have their opinions on, I think
And that's good to talk about too.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have too much? Are we going to? Because it is a question that you and I get quite often. Mm-hmm. Are we going to be oversaturated? My opinion is no. Based on what I think the town is doing with infrastructure, the people will come. So I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But there are some really good pre-construction. Well, there's good pre-construction options.
Timber Peaks.
Yeah, Timber Peaks is one to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cadence Pond, which is coming, that's up in Silvertip. We don't know a lot about it right now. But some of the things to think about are, yes, always how many bedrooms, what can you afford, those types of things, but efficient layouts, right? I mean, we have an umbrella where we have a short-term rental manager that has a company that we deal with, and layouts are important, right? Is it efficient? Does it suffice? If you have a 3-bedroom and it sleeps, let's say 8 people, because you have a pull-out or you have some bunk beds or whatever, but you only have a table that'll sit 6.
Yeah.
Is that efficient?
Or no table.
So understanding those things.
Yeah.
And then I think proven developers.
Yeah.
Not always local, but local is good.
Yeah.
Because they understand, where we're at and what to do and trades and warranty and all of those things. I mean, every property comes with Alberta New Home Warranty, but what kind of things do they stand behind? Mm-hmm. So I think those are all really important.
Well, just to add to that, with some of the pre-construction projects.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful what I say here. The pre-construction projects, some of them that are coming to completion, they're nice. They're nice.
Yeah.
They look nice.
Yeah.
People who bought those are gonna do very well on them.
For sure.
What I would encourage people to consider is, again, we just talked about the square footage, but there's some extreme value to really understanding the short-term rental market and really understanding what buildings make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because here's a prime example. If you go onto Airbnb and you're looking at a property in Spring Creek and you're looking at a property in one of these pre-construction places and you're looking at the photos, you're going to be like, oh man, I can stay over here at one of these properties on Bow Valley Trail. It looks really nice. But I'm telling you right now, it's not the luxury market. Some of them. And that's not a diss on them because that's never what they were meant to be originally.
No.
But what I encourage people is if you're managing a property, an asset of your own, or you have somebody managing the property and they're renting it out to 8 people and they're coming in and there's no kitchen table and there's an island with 4 stools. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a guest, I'm going to be kind of like, okay, these are beautiful units.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But it's just something to keep in mind. And I'm a big advocate in the pre-construction
for sure
market
we do
anyways.
a lot of business,
and the reason why that is because I do think that you're going to get really good appreciation for one.
Yeah. You're buying in today's dollars.
I find that the pre-construction market, I find that most of the people who are buying it out of my database are people who are already experienced. People who maybe have a property already.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because they're taking, I'm going to say 2 years, but I'm telling you right now, unless it's somebody like Spring Creek or Base Camp potentially, or it's usually taking more than 2 years, which is okay. But most people don't want to wait that long. And you have to have your ducks in a row. If you're buying pre-construction, you're shooting from the hip when it becomes launch day. That's the reality of it. It's the only way to do it. Mm-hmm. So you need to know what you're doing. You need to have financing in place. So if you're thinking,
well, you need to understand financing.
That too,
because there's not a lender that will lend past 2 years.
No.
So
but there's one that knows how to handle it.
Yes. So understanding that and being aware before you get in and knowing those things are very, very important. And again, like you said, most of the investor types that we are dealing with in pre-construction have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 units already. So they understand, you know, some of them have bought pre-construction from us in the past. So,
well, and I know we're emphasizing a lot on pre-construction right now, but I do want to talk about resale for a second. Resale is something that I've changed my tune on. So originally my perspective was like, I think everybody should buy the new stuff because new stuff is new and it's better. And some of the older stuff, it's, 2007 to 2011, like that's old, right? It's 15 to 18 years old now. It's not the same, but what I'm realizing now is that complexes that are run properly. First of all, a lot of these resale buildings are in fantastic locations. Their walkability scores are really high. Some of the newer stuff does have really good walkability scores, but on the other end of Bow Valley Trail, not as much of my preference as where some of the resale stuff is. It's finished, it's nice. It's just a little bit of a different feel. You're not on the tracks and the highway.
and you're not even on Bow Valley Trail.
A lot of them you're not on Bow Valley Trail. So that's something to think about as well. And then the other thing to think about as well is square footage in the resale units. 9 times out of 10 is going to absolutely smoke the new construction.
Yes.
9 times out of 10. And
it'll be interesting in Timber Peaks, though.
And that's why I want people to pay attention
Cadence
to that
Pond,
one.
same thing. I mean,
because those they know what they're not. I shouldn't say they know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing, and so do the other people. It's just a totally different project.
Yes.
But just back to my point is a lot of these, I just think of like the lodges for an example, and I know they're starting to have some conversations internally there about updating hallways, updating exteriors. I know they've started, but just we've seen Solera do it. We've seen some of these other buildings start to do it too. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff that was built in 2007 to the 2012, the Stoneridges, the Blackstones, the Soleras, the lodges, I mean, like those are quality builds, like really well built.
Well, what's important on that, Parker, is understanding the condo docs, understanding the reserve, because I think a lot of people look and they go, oh, lodges, for instance, 2007-8, and they go, oh, that's getting old. Well, yeah, but if the condo reserve is set up properly, that's what a condo reserve is for, to make sure that the building doesn't deteriorate to a point where you lose value. And that's what's happening. And I think that's to your point. So condos, resale condos still have really, really, really good value. In fact, some could argue maybe better because sometimes new stuff ends up having issues that you can't foresee, and they have no condo reserve. Right? Whereas some of these other buildings that are been around for a while, they have reserve funds set aside for different things. That's not to say that there aren't things that happen and there's special assessments and so on and so forth. Those things happen. But typically, even with special assessments, those tend to add value to your property.
And I would say, like, in general, I would be confident if one is considering the new short-term rental market. Like, I don't think that there's many situations where it's like you're getting a lemon.
You're talking about the pre-construction stuff.
I don't think that that's something.
I don't think there's a developer in here where we're like, ugh.
No.
That's not what we're saying at all.
No.
I just think that the used market or existing market is just as good as the pre-sale. Again, it depends on your motivation, your timing. It's just different. So,
and I think the biggest difference that I find really gravitates a lot of people to the pre-construction is the amenities, because a lot of these complexes are, the amenities, not only are they, let's just say they have a pool, but like it's new, right? Like that goes a long way. The other thing is, we're starting to see saunas and more of like the Nordic style amenities, which I think is super cool. I'm a big advocate for that stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's almost like just like a little bit of an added bonus, but it doesn't make one better than the other. I just find that in the resale stuff, depending on the complex, the updated and upkeep of the amenities and making them modern with the rest of the building can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and sometimes it's a result of what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
Right? We have a lot of clients that have bought some pre-construction stuff that probably would have bought resale,
Yeah.
but there isn't any resale.
Well, and that fantastic point because
Right.
I mean we have less than 20 properties in resale. Like
Yes.
a lot of people are like, well, I'm not seeing those 2-bedroom, 3rd floor stone ridges come to market. There's maybe one every year,
Well,
maybe.
yeah, maybe.
So then that's why pre-construction are gaining a lot of momentum because it's like, wow, I don't really. This is what I'm looking for.
And it's a long game for them, so they understand that. So
For sure.
yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we need to beat a dead horse about investors. I think both are really good options at the end of the day. So hopefully people who are listening aren't necessarily taking one opinion or the other from what we're saying because that's not our objective. But I think that kind of ties into discussing obviously the buyers, sellers, investors, and kind of where the market's at. May, I think, is going to be busy too. I don't necessarily see it getting.
April, you mean?
Sorry, April.
May's going to be busy too, though. But
I don't
yeah.
necessarily see it spiraling in the sense of like, oh, we're going to look at April's data and we're going to go, oh, it's smoked March. And then vice versa. I think it's like going to be like this, and I think it's just going to roll.
I think it's just going to keep growing consistently.
Yeah. But I don't think we're going to see, like, I think this was like kind of our month of a decent jump. But as more short-term rental stuff potentially happens, it'll be interesting. I mean, there's I don't know. It's a fun market right now.
Yeah, I wrote something down. It just said success right now comes down to execution and positioning, not timing alone.
Yeah.
Right. So used to be, sometimes it was all about timing, and right now you can't time this market. We see steady growth. I think we're gonna. Positioning and execution are as or more important right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of it for March. I don't think we need to go into anything further. Obviously, if you guys ever want access to the data and kind of where we're getting our opinions from, obviously some of that is just because we're professionals and this is what we do.
Yeah.
But we're happy to share the data at any time with anybody. So reach out, like and subscribe to the channel, please. It helps us grow. We love doing this sort of stuff. We love talking about the market. We're passionate about what we do, and we just want to give our honest opinion to everybody that stumbles across our content because that's what we're all about.
And I think to your point, Park, sorry, if you want, we do send out a market update email.
Yeah.
That does go into more in depth. If you're not on our list and you want to be, and you see this video on our YouTube, just reach out.
Or maybe you don't have time to take 30 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want to watch
to
a video or whatever.
Ramble.
We do send it out in email form.
It's a 5-minute read, and it gives you a really good synopsis of where things are at. So thanks again for tuning in, and stay tuned for April's update in a month. Take care.